Welcome. So today we are diving headfirst into the world of technical analysis. The so-called art of reading stock charts. But what if it's less about some secret genius and more about, well, just making things confusing on purpose? Let's get into it. So, you've seen them, right? You go to a financial website, click on some stock, and your screen just explodes with all these lines, bars, and weird acronyms. It looks like a mission control panel from a sci-fi movie. And honestly, it can feel totally overwhelming. Yeah, if looking at a chart like this makes your head spin, trust me, you are not alone. And according to the source we're looking at today, that feeling, that complexity, it might not be an accident. Actually, it argues we should be pretty skeptical about the whole thing. Okay, let's break this down. What's actually creating all that noise on the screen? Well, it's a few key technical indicators, and they're often sold to us as this secret language of the experts, the absolute must-have tools for any trader who's serious. And you almost always see these three usual suspects. You got the RSI, which supposedly tells you if a stock is overbought or oversold. Then there's the MACD, a real mouthful, which is supposed to show you shifts in momentum. And of course, those super cryptic candlestick patterns that are meant to reveal the market's deepest secrets. They're all pitched as the key to figuring out what the market's going to do next. But here's where it gets really interesting. Our source gives us this completely different, pretty satirical take. It suggests that instead of being these essential tools, things like RSI and MACD are, get this, a form of expert propaganda. I mean, just let that sink in. The claim is so direct. The argument isn't just that these indicators are hard to understand. It's that they are designed to be hard to understand. It's a way to keep up this whole vibe of expertise, making finance feel like this exclusive club that regular people just can't get into. It's a really provocative idea, for sure. All right, so if all the standard tools are just propaganda, then what are we supposed to do? Just guess? Well, not exactly. The source actually points to a much more straightforward and logical approach that goes back to the basics. So instead of trying to read the tea leaves in some candlestick chart, the idea is to do two really simple things. Number one, look at the raw historical data. What has this thing actually done in the past? And number two, apply clear, straightforward mathematical models to that data. It's a huge shift away from someone's subjective interpretation and toward objective, clean calculation. Now, this whole idea of simplifying things doesn't just stop with charts. It goes for the language of finance itself. So let's tackle another bit of jargon that is often made to sound way more scary than it actually is. Leverage, or as our source kind of jokingly calls it, the Hable. When you strip away all the fancy talk, that's really all leverage is. It's just using borrowed money to try and juice your potential returns. Now, of course, it juices your risk too, but the basic idea, it's super simple. It's a perfect example of how a fundamental concept can get buried under layers and layers of jargon. Okay, so we've poked holes in some expert tools and we've demystified some jargon. What does this all mean for you? Like, what's the big takeaway here? How should this change how you look at financial info from now on? So here's the new way to think about it. Be skeptical. When you see one of those crazy-looking charts, just ask yourself, is this actually making things clearer, or is it just creating confusion? Always try to get back to the basic historical data. Remember that simple, logical models can be way more powerful than super complex ones. And please, never let a big word like leverage scare you off from understanding what's really going on. At the end of the day, this isn't really just about stocks. It's a whole mindset. It's about demanding clarity, not just with our money, but in every part of our lives. And it leaves us with this really great question. What other expert advice are you just kind of accepting without really giving it a second thought?